Vita.
Hey there.
Okay, welcome. Just Vita and I today.
Hey
How
Bradley,
are you
how's it
doing
going?
today? Good,
I'm good. How are you?
good. Thank you.
Good.
So, yeah, a bit more informal today, but um, nonetheless, it'll be recorded, and anybody else, hopefully be able to look and listen. But yeah, I look forward to having some discussion about the mind and consciousness today. So, yeah. Today is
Absolutely.
session 3, Consciousness, the Missing Link. So we're going to dive into what defines consciousness. Uh, is it an innate part of not just humans, but plants, animals, basically any living thing? And yeah, we'll just dive into that and have a short discussion after that.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
great.
So just one video today, but it is a bit longer.
Consciousness, the missing link. Who am I? Am I this body, or the mind? Or am I something higher? Am I an American, Australian, Indian, or African? Does it really matter? When asked, "Who are you?" most people will reply with their name. If your name is changed, will you change? If not, then who are you? Others may reply by showing their photograph. However, the facial features keep changing throughout our lives, and in an extreme case, if the face is changed with plastic surgery, will you change? The purpose of life is to find happiness. In order for me to be happy, it is imperative that I seek the answer to the question, who am I? All spiritual culture and traditions of the world have encouraged this inquiry and to search for an answer within. The Bhagavad Gita, one of the most ancient books of spiritual wisdom from the East, explains that we are not this body, but the Atma, spiritual consciousness. The Atma is the spark of life force that activates the body. The body can be compared to a car and the consciousness to the driver of the car. Without a driver, the car cannot move by itself. Similarly, the body cannot function without the presence of the consciousness. Someone may ask, has anyone seen the consciousness? According to the Gita, a consciousness is indestructible, individual, and changes bodies. It has a form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The consciousness is situated in the region of the heart, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles, which carry the oxygen from the lungs, gather energy from the consciousness. When the consciousness passes away from this position, activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. The Upanishads say that the size of the consciousness is estimated to be 1/10,000th the tip of the hair. Hence, it is infinitesimally small and thus inconceivable. Some differences between matter and spirit are: matter is formless, while spirit gives form to matter. Matter is dead, while spirit is consciousness. Matter is perishable, while spirit is imperishable. Matter undergoes transformations, while the spirit does not undergo any transformations. Existence of consciousness. Due to its spiritual nature, the consciousness cannot be seen by limited range of vision provided by our eyes, made up of matter. However, the existence of consciousness can be perceived in many ways. Common sense. We get an indication that the self is different from the body when we attend a funeral. We may see a crying widow grieving. He's gone. My husband is gone. She says that her husband is gone, yet the body is lying there, looking much the same as it did a few days before. Who is gone at death? It is the real person, the self who is different from the body it animates, that goes away. Intuitive understanding. By thoughtful self-observation, we can become aware of the existence of the self beyond the body. For example, we don't think of our foot or our head or any part of our body as me, but as my foot, my head, my body. Then who am I? Who is that self, myself, beyond the body and beyond even the mind? That is the consciousness. Consciousness. Subtle objects can be perceived by their symptoms. For example, one cannot see air, but it can be perceived through its symptom of blowing wind. One cannot see intelligence, but it can be perceived by giving an IQ test. Similarly, the symptom of the existence of spirit is that we are conscious. Consciousness from the spirit pervades throughout the body, and the body appears alive. Just like the sun spreads heat and light all around, the spirit spreads consciousness all around the body, from the tip of the toes and fingers to the top of the head. It is this consciousness that enables us to think, feel, move, and so on. Thus, consciousness is the symptom of the spirit. Consciousness is what distinguishes a dead body from a living one. When an iPod plays music, it feels no emotions. However, a singer undergoes several emotions while singing. This is consciousness. The ability to be aware of one's existence, to think, to feel, and to will. As Thomas Huxley said, there is a third thing in the universe, to wit, consciousness, which I cannot see to be matter of force. Consciousness gives the proof of the spirit. Changing body. We had a body which was 3 years old. If we show someone our photograph when we were 3 years old, they will most likely not be able to recognize us from then. Our body has changed since then. Our mind has changed since then. Our intelligence has changed since then. However, the person within, the experiencer, remains unchanged. This indicates that we, the experiencer, are different from our body, mind, or intellect. The Gita explains, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to young to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences. NDEs, as the name suggests, involve people who have a close call with death. Many people having NDEs also have out-of-body experiences, in which they report observing their physical body and events relating to it from a perspective outside the body during severe illness or physical trauma resulting in unconsciousness. A typical case might involve a person who is resuscitated from a heart attack and reports that he observed from a point outside his body the medical personnel endeavoring to revive him. At such times, according to standard medical opinion, the normal functioning of the brain as indicated by certain brain waves is impaired, and the patient should be unconscious, if indeed consciousness is a manifestation of the brain. The book Into the Unknown, published by the Reader's Digest, even gives evidences of people who have had OBEs or out-of-body experiences. Such people who could perform OBE were made to lie on a bed closing their eyes, go out of the body, observe the different types of objects like triangular prism, rectangular, circular plates kept on a loft, again return into the body, and draw the objects that they saw on the loft on a sheet of paper. Such drawings perfectly matched with the objects kept high up on the loft that no one could observe from the ground level. This is called OBE, or out-of-body experience. There is enough research work in NDE and OBE presented by individuals with impeccable scientific credentials. For example, Dr. Michael B. Sabam, a cardiologist and professor at the Emory University Medical School, was openly skeptical of NDEs but changed his mind after investigating them. Past life memories. Rigorous, unbiased studies have been carried out by serious researchers on past life memories. Ian Stevenson, Carlson Professor of Psychiatry at the University of Virginia, has extensively investigated spontaneous reincarnation memories recounted by children. In such cases, he has been able to positively corroborate what the child has claimed by thoroughly investigating details of the place and people they describe, including the dead person they claim to have been. Stevenson has assembled numerous accounts of over 3,000 cases of reincarnation and verified them, always taking great care to screen out fabrications. His studies give convincing evidence that the conscious self can travel from one physical body to the next. Clearly, when one body dies, the contents of its brain are destroyed, and there is no physical process by which they can influence the contents of another brain. The logical interpretation is that the conscious self must be an entity distinct from the brain. Incarnation. The past life memories of an ex-pilot, James Leninger. Could a little boy be proof of reincarnation? ABC News, June 30th, 2005. Nearly 6 decades ago, a 21-year-old Navy fighter pilot on a mission over the Pacific was shot down by Japanese artillery. His name might have been forgotten were it not for a 6-year-old James Leninger. Quite a few people, including those who knew the fighter pilot, think James is the pilot reincarnated. James's parents, Andrea and Bruce, a highly educated modern couple, say they are probably the people least likely to have a scenario like this pop up in their lives. But over time, they have become convinced that their little son has had a former life. From an early age, James would play with nothing else but planes, his parents say. But when he was 2, they said the planes their son loved began to give him regular nightmares. I'd wake him up and he'd be screaming, Andrea told ABC News' Chris Cuomo. She said that she asked her son what he was dreaming about, and he would say, airplane crash on fire, little man can't get out, reality check. Andrea says her mom was the first to suggest James was remembering a past life. At first, Andrea says she was doubtful. James was only watching kids shows, his parents say, and they weren't watching World War II documentaries or conversing about military history. But as time went by, Andrea began to wonder what to believe. In one video of James at age 3, he goes over a plane as if he's doing a pre-flight check. Another time, Andrea said she bought him a toy plane and pointed out what appeared to be a bomb on its underside. She says James corrected her and told her it was a drop tank. I'd never heard of a drop tank, she said. I didn't know what a drop tank was. Then James' violent nightmares got worse. Occurring 3 or 4 times a week, Andrea's mother suggested she look into the work of counselor and therapist Carol Bowman, who believes that the dead sometimes can be reborn. With guidance from Bowman, they began to encourage James to share his memories, and immediately, Andrea says, the nightmares started to become less frequent. James was also becoming more articulate about his apparent past, she said. Bowman said James was at the age when former lives were most easily recalled. They haven't had the cultural conditioning, the layering over of the experience in his life so the memories can percolate up more easily, she said. Trail of Mysteries. Over time, James's parents says he revealed extraordinary details about the life of a former fighter pilot, mostly at bedtime when he was drowsy. They say James told him his plane had been hit by the Japanese and crashed. Andrea says James told his father he flew a Corsair and then told her they used to get flat tires all the time. In fact, historians and pilots agree that the plane's tires took a lot of punishment on landing, but that's a fact that could easily be found in books or on television. Andrea says James also told his father the name of the boat he took off from, Natoma, and the name of someone he flew with, Jack Larson. After some research, Bruce discovered both the Natoma and Jack Larson were real. The Natoma Bay was a small aircraft carrier in the Pacific, and Larson is living in Arkansas. It was like, holy mackerel, Bruce said. You could have poured my brains out of my ears. I just couldn't believe it. James 2 equals James M. Huston, Jr. Bruce became obsessed, searching the internet, combing through military records and interviewing men who served aboard the Natoma Bay. He said James told him that he had been shot down at Iwo Jima. James had also begun signing his crayon drawings James 3. Bruce soon learned that the only pilot from the squadron killed at Iwo Jima was James M. Hudson, Jr. Bruce says James also told him his plane had sustained a direct hit on the engine. Ralph Klaber, a rear gunner on a U.S. airplane that flew off the Natoma Bay, says his plane was right next to one flown by James M. Huston, Jr. during a raid near Iwo Jima on March 3, 1945. Klaber said he saw Huston's plane struck by anti-aircraft fire. I would say he was hit head-on, right in the middle of the engine, he said. Treasured mementos. Bruce says he now believes his son had a past life in which he was James M. Huston, Jr. He came back because he wasn't finished with something. The Lenningers wrote a letter to Huston's sister, Ann Barron, about their little boy, and now she believes it as well. The child was so convincing in coming up with all the things that there is no way in the world he could know, she said. But Professor Paul Kurtz of the State University of New York at Buffalo, who heads an organization that investigates claims of the paranormal, says he thinks the parents are self-deceived. They're fascinated by the mysterious and they built up a fairy tale, he said. James's vivid, alleged recollections are starting to fade as he gets older, but among his prized possessions remains 2 haunting presents sent to him by Barron: a bust of George Washington and a model of a Corsair aircraft. They were among the personal effects of James Huston sent home after the war. He appears to have experienced something that I don't think is unique, but the way it's been revealed is quite astounding, Bruce said. Asked if the idea that James may have been someone else changes his or his wife's feelings about their son, Bruce said, "It doesn't change how we think. I don't look at him and say, 'That's not my boy.' That's my boy."
So, a lot of info there. Any thoughts on the story of James or kind of the explanation of consciousness?
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe in reincarnation and believe that the spirit can easily transfer to another living object or living thing, animal, plant, person, depending on, you know, I I 100% agree with it. It would be quite interesting, I'm sure, as having that as your child and, hearing that come out of their mouth and just be like, well, this is really interesting, like, and having all that information, but
For
I
sure.
definitely believe in it.
Mm. Yeah, I
Um,
think, yeah, it can be difficult, especially for a lot of like Western um, people to, uh, yeah, think about reincarnation or uh, I don't want to say accept that idea because everybody's ideas are valid. But I was raised Christian and I kind of believed in it from a young age. I mean, I saw even, like a caterpillar completely changes its body and turns into a butterfly, even during its own life. And
yeah.
so, yeah, what to speak about um, ourselves that, uh, yeah, I really feel like this body is not kind of the end, that there is kind of this continuous journey that the soul takes, and that the soul is, in fact, separate from the body. And yeah, based on, like in James' case, if he had some unfinished business, or we have particular desires or tendencies that we might be given a suitable vessel or body kind of to carry out those desires. So, and that also ties into a topic which will be discussed in following weeks, karma, which is um, it's not black and white. It's not like I do something good, therefore something good happens to me. It's a very intricate system that is yeah, pretty difficult to wrap your head around. But uh, yeah, a way that we can look at it is, um, if something good happens, it might be a result of something good that I did maybe earlier in life, maybe even in a past life. And similarly, if something uh, unfortunate occurs, then we might take that as, yeah, maybe it's some lesson that I need to learn that I didn't learn in the past. Hello,
Yeah, I
Mika.
think
Welcome.
sweet. Um, yeah, I definitely think that like Eastern culture and Western culture can create such a different understanding. In Western culture, a lot of times there is so much that prevents people for that has not evolved to understanding that the spirit is much farther than just the human body. And it's so much bigger than that, and it transcends in so many dimensions. Uh, Creating being, I think the human body is literally just a vessel for a spirit, and I mean, there's an artist. I don't know if you're familiar with Alex Gray.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So one thing I thought I went to Alex Gray's museum when I was in New York, and it
Mm.
was so interesting to see as he is such an incredible artist, but he also paints like the mathematical equation of the human body in spirit form, and also say there's an image of when a person dies, they're on their death, they're laying down, they're dying, and you can literally see. I think there's one image I see where it has like eyes, and it just goes up into a big, and it's just like the spirit is dissipating out of the body while the vessel is still remains. And I remember being with my grandma when she passed, and I always really resonated with that image because it just made so much sense to me because it felt like the being and the energetic form is it's so much more beyond, you know, uh, that place. So yeah, I I definitely agree. Reincarnation can be in so many forms, and I feel like our dimension that we live in is just so many realms of dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, I love Alex Gray, and I was introduced to him through he made the album covers for a band called Tool,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of my first introduction, really, to like spirituality in general, because I was in like late high school or early college, and you know, doing so many things, expanding my consciousness. But yeah, like looking at that art, listening to music that has like these very interesting rhythms, kind of as a way to facilitate like a transcendental or spiritual experience. And that it can almost, yeah, like take you out of your body and yeah, make you realize that there's something more than this. So Mika, just to catch you up, this is session 3,
Hello.
consciousness. Hi, welcome. Yeah. So this is consciousness, the missing link, and it's we just learned about kind of near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. We talked about this little boy named James who remembered essentially that he was like a fighter pilot in his last life and gave so many just intricate details on his life and the plane that he flew, the ship that he was on, and just really interesting support basically for the idea that the soul is separate from the body and can travel and carry almost these memories or like imprints from a past life. So do you have any thoughts on that? Any experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I align with all of that. I do believe that. Um, I'm trying to think. A near-death experience I had a little bit was once I was in a car crash with my family, and I just remember like time slowing down and me seeing it, and like my sister was in a car seat. And I just feel like it was like instinctual. I reached over to make sure she was safe, but like, I don't know. It was really bizarre. I'm thankful that we were all okay, but it was a drunk driver and it just felt like everything was in slow motion. But I knew that we were gonna be okay. But that was wild because for a second you don't know. Like you think like, okay, this he was coming, he turned and it was like head on towards our car,
Mm,
and obviously the opposite side of traffic. So I just remember thinking like for a split second, okay, this could be it. Like time slowed down enough for me to think that, but then it was also like, no, we're gonna be okay. So that's the closest thing that comes to mind when you say like
yeah.
near death experiences and like consciousness in that manner. Um, yeah, that's what comes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I've heard that from several people. Like I've had friends who have been in a crash and yeah, they felt like they're just kind of watching the whole thing happen like
Yeah,
from a different
like out of body
location.
experience a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And so also in the video it talks about how in the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedic literatures it talks about the soul being this 1/10,000th the size of a tip of the human hair. So uh consciousness is something that either it can't be measured by scientific instruments or we haven't developed the technology yet. Uh, but I think it's something that can practically be experienced and perceived, um, just not kind of with material vision. Um,
100% agreed. Yeah.
yeah. And so also in the video, it talks about, we see somebody on their deathbed and eventually they pass and we say they've passed away. We don't say like, you know, they're still here or anything like that. We know uh, that they have kind of left. They've gone on the rest of their journey, but the material body, which was the source really of all of their activities and memories and everything in this life, it's still here on Earth. So, uh, yeah, I think even kind of the Western ideology on death is that there is a consciousness, there is a soul, kind of that's separate from the body. Um, but yeah, that's basically the video, and now we'll get into like a little icebreaker and just some further discussion on the topic.
Okay.
So, tell us about your name. What is its meaning, and how do you feel about it?
I
I
start
Sure,
or
yeah,
okay.
yeah, please.
Oh no, whoever. I just didn't know if I was still catching up.
Yeah, I could start. I mean, I have a kind of an interesting situation because, I've been practicing bhakti for 7, 8 years, and I've been uh, initiated, which means like I have a spiritual teacher who I kind of practice under and learn from, and he during that process gave me like a spiritual name. So my
Okay.
birth name is Bradley, but my devotional name is Bhakta Das. Um, Kind
Okay.
of anybody who takes that next step, so to speak, in bhakti, they're they get a spiritual name, and their last kind of the last part of the name is Das or Dasi, which means servant. And because really, uh, devotion is all about serving, whether it's serving others, serving our higher power, um, and yeah, kind of just putting yourself not in the center anymore. And bhakta just means devotee or somebody who is devoted to, um, yeah, the path of enlightenment, the path of spiritual advancement. So, in being a servant of the devotee, or essentially a servant of the servant, kind of the lower you go on the totem pole, it's like the inverse of how we think about things in the material, like workplace or anything. We don't really want to be kind of in that bottom position. But in spiritual life, it's like if I have so many opportunities to do service, that's just more opportunities for, uh, the mercy of, the people around us, the mercy of our higher power. And yeah, so that's the meaning of that name. And I feel very fortunate to have that name. And it kind of keeps me having like a humble attitude. Uh, can't really get too puffed up being a servant of the servant. And my birth name Bradley just means like a
Mhm.
broad meadow. Some say like broad shoulders, so it doesn't really mean much to me, I guess. But uh, it's served me well.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mika, you'd like to share?
I can go. Um, I think my name means little wave. I'm really not
Hmm.
sure. But yeah, I like it. It's a little unique
Yeah, I've
and
never heard that before.
I feel like it fits me. Yeah.
Awesome. And Vita?
Yeah, you know, my name is Vita. Um, I find it so interesting just recently in like my learnings and understandings more and more. I just finished the book Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. Is
Mm.
such a good book. It's just
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And it is just so interesting because there's like a part where, people ask you who you are and you say your name. I'm so and so and I I'm this and I do this business and this is how I recognize myself or tell people who I am. And it's so interesting because um my name is Vita, which means life, and I think it fits really well because for me it's like I feel in this life it's just such a journey all the time. And I don't necessarily resonate with any specific world. I feel like it's all just a collaboration of an understanding and a journey moving forward each day through energy.
Mm.
um, and I do find it always interesting when somebody asks you what you do, like who are you, or what
You.
what what do you do, or and you're like,
I
uh,
despise that question. I'm like, there's so much more to get to know someone. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's like an interview, a date, a random,
right.
like, meetup that's just supposed to be for making friends. It's just like, what do you do? It's just like, what?
Absolutely. And it's like, why also, it's stating, I mean, if you take the ego, you're amplifying it in another dimension too of labeling. And you're
Yeah.
labeling yourself for what you are. I mean, this book was so interesting to me in so many dimensions of that, even as like, I- even say you're artist and you paint a picture, right? Okay. and and you're you love your painting or you love your piece of art, but you're like, you know, but as an, I don't know, I'm an artist, but as like, I don't really like, I'm not a person who's like, buy my art. I don't ever want to tell somebody that I would want, even though I just want people to automatically, that has to be something that they resonate with, purely. But it is a lot of people who do create stuff, they're really proud of it, or they really amplify themselves in it. Yes, I did
Mm.
that. That's what I created.
Is
I
what
did that.
yeah.
And so I find it really interesting in understanding that ego side within labeling and claiming who we are or what we are.
Mm.
Like, I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really insightful. And it reminds me actually of a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, actually several verses where kind of Krishna, or you can replace with any name for or any higher power that you believe in, but essentially he's saying, uh, I am the strength of the strong. I am the creativity in mankind.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, and so yeah, somebody who is presenting, their art or their work, ideally it would be, yeah, as like an offering that this is something that I allowed, or really that my higher power allowed to come
Allow to
through
release.
me,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
as a gift or an offering to the world and yeah, to better um, people. So yeah, I think that's really nice that you treat that similarly, I feel. Um, but yeah, really beautiful realizations.
Yeah. Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend and I, we both read The Power of Now, which was an amazing book, also by Eckhart Tolle. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's another way just to be more conscious, to be more present. We realize that there really is no such thing as the past or the future. All you have
Yeah.
is now. And when you recognize that, yeah, your soul, your consciousness can come more to the forefront, and you can not be anxious about the future, depressed about the past, because there's
Yeah.
nothing that we can change about either of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, yeah, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I suggest that book. It's
Mm.
incredible.
Yeah,
Really
I'll have
great
to pick that
insight.
up.
Yeah. Get it for five
Cool.
bucks on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say like Barnes and Nobles, they don't know what's
I was
coming.
like, it's $5 on eBay is like, it's way more information than $5 could ever give you in
Mm.
this world. It's like,
Yeah,
okay. Like,
perfect. Cool. So
yeah,
now we'll jump into a few questions and discussions about the video, but really, um, yeah,
General
just
theme.
about consciousness in general. So I'm gonna send it also in the chat here, but we can
Cool.
read it here. And so, number one, what is the soul? How can we perceive the existence of the soul? Anybody have any ideas on what the soul is, and can it be measured? Can we see it? Can we feel it?
We can feel it.
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, the soul is is the essence of your being.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it's like the spark of life that activates the body, that allows it to perform all these different actions. It allows the mind to remember things, and the intelligence to
Mm.
discern kind of what's right and wrong, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. And it allows us to engage in the senses, touch, smell, taste, hearing, and feeling. And
Mm.
without the soul, um, there's no way that that could happen. I mean, we'd just be like robots.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess sometimes it's something for me to wrap my head around to think about the soul and correlating it with senses.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
find that
Yeah,
interesting.
in the Gita, it explains that uh, from the soul comes consciousness. From consciousness, it leads to intelligence, and intelligence governs the mind. The mind controls or is controlled by the senses. And then the senses, they engage in sense objects within the world.
Mhm.
So, we smell a fragrant flower, we see, uh, a beautiful mountain or sunset, and but all of those things are experienced through the senses, which are processed by the mind, which then have another layer of the intelligence deciding, is this pleasurable? Is this painful? And then above that is the soul or consciousness, kind of just as a witness to uh, everything that is happening, everything that's going
Mhm.
on.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
So
number,
I have a
yeah,
question.
yes,
So
please.
like, so in meditation, if you're just say in your space in a quiet zone with a clear head, clear, you're completely in a meditative place of clarity, that is so that would I'm just trying to understand, I guess, the mind and the senses and then the soul.
Mm,
Because I guess I don't know, it's something for me to think about. Like, or
yeah.
just to maybe
So you're
do
asking
some
like during a
exploration.
meditation, we're not supposed to essentially like engage our senses and kind of
I guess
withdraw
we
them.
are. Breath is huge.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And really what bhakti is all about is kind of living life as a meditation. So our thoughts, our actions, they're used. We don't kind of refrain from engaging or acting within the world, but we do it with a consciousness that is uh, not for ourself and like for our own enjoyment, but for how can we be of service? How can we better the world? How can we engage in a loving relationship with each other and with the divine? And in doing that, the senses they automatically become controlled because then they're not being used like for our own pleasure, like you know, uh, drinking, gambling, all of these things that kind of are harmful to the body. But instead, we transform those same actions or tendencies for a spiritual purpose.
mhm.
Yeah. But certainly, uh, kind of a quiet, peaceful meditation also has its place and is very beneficial. And
Yeah.
similarly with like physical yoga and bringing balance to the physical body.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean there's a place for everything, and it's just how do we utilize it in the correct way.
Hmm.
Yeah. Does
Interesting.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so what are the qualities of the soul? Any thoughts?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. Like,
Can the soul be injured? Can it be killed? Can it be uh, affected in any way, like by any material or physical object?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't believe it can. I think that our emotional state, if we can't see outside of that, we think it might be affecting it, but it's just the emotional state. Because I think the soul in existence is unpermeable. Um, uh, not able to be transformed.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Vedas essentially they say that our soul is eternal, it's full of knowledge, and it's full of bliss or full of joy. So uh, kind of when we are not identifying with the soul, then we experience the temporary nature of this world. We kind of forget our true nature and we experience pain and suffering. And it's not that those things will stop existing if we realize our true nature, but when that happens, we see, kind of as we talked about in previous sessions, we see that uh, suffering and that pain as a gift or as a um, catalyst for transformation.
Mm.
And yeah, so another quality of the soul is it accepts different vessels or bodies. So, as we learned from the near death experience or the story of James as the previous fighter pilot, or even as a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, we see that the soul, and even in our own lives, there's another verse in the Gita that says, as the soul continues from childhood to youth to old age, similarly, it passes at the time of death into a new body. Um, so even in our own lives in this physical body, science also tells us that every cell in the body gets replaced every, 6 or so years.
Mm.
So even in this one body that we have now, it's changed already several times, and it's not at all what it was when we were born. Um,
Mm.
we have new sets of memories and uh, interests and hobbies and everything, so they're all able to be changed and be transformed. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
like that because that reminds me of, so I used to help out at like a senior center, and I'd always hear folks being like, I don't feel this age. Like, yeah, my body's breaking down, but like in my head, I still feel young, or like it doesn't even have to be seniors, like even people in their like whatever 40s, 50s, 60s. If you have a chat with them, they're just like, oh my gosh, I still feel like I'm 20, like in
Mhm.
my inside, it's like, I know my outside's aging, but sometimes, you feel younger than you actually are because it's just like time really goes by fast if you look at it in like from a bird's eye point of view. But yeah, I always find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything to share, Vita? Any thoughts on that?
Um, no.
Okay.
I could be.
Yeah, yeah. And really, yeah, as Mika's saying, if we zoom out, really this life is just like the blink of an eye in the grand scheme of like the journey of a soul is, we may have been in so many bodies before this and we may be in some after. Um, and that is in Sanskrit called samsara, or the wheel of birth and death. Um, and ultimately, the goal is to kind of escape that wheel. And that is when a soul is fully realized, reaches enlightenment in a sense. But that journey is never over. And true enlightenment is knowing that there's just constantly more to learn, more to experience, more service to render, more activities to engage in. So it's not like you reach a point and it's like, oh, now I'm enlightened. I can just sit here now for the rest of eternity and, you know, be peaceful. And there are schools of thought that um, adhere to that belief, and it can be possible, but at the same time, the soul by nature has desires, and so eventually one might reach that state and then have a desire that needs to be fulfilled, and then back into the wheel they go and
Mhm.
experience it again. So yeah, and
Mhm.
that again will be covered, I think, a little bit during the karma session. So number 3, what is the difference between a robot and a human being? Can we give an example to illustrate the difference between the body and the soul? I think we did that a little bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we hit on that. Yeah. So I would say that a robot, they're kind of dependent on a human kind of to function, or at least to get it started. And it also depends on material resources to continue to function. Has to have its batteries charged or um, run on solar or whatever it
His
is.
joints
But
lubricated.
yeah, yeah, it takes so many
Oil.
things. And it's probably debated now whether a robot has intelligence with AI and everything.
No
But
kidding. The new
yeah,
world. We're heading into robot land.
yeah,
It is new room.
Yeah.
yeah. But could we say, a
Real-
robot, they have had a body before this, they'll have a body after this. Um, we can't destroy the essence of a robot. So I would say that it could be. And kind of once you take the batteries out of the robot, it's not functioning anymore.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mechanical defect. R2D2.
yeah. And certainly it took an intelligent uh, being or group of people to create that robot. And so I would
Absolutely.
say, yeah, but I would say that intelligence of those people also comes from an even more intelligent source. And yeah, so similar with the human body, it comes from a designer, so to speak.
Hmm.
I read something about like technology in itself, and it's like something about like humans didn't create it. We actually just discovered it. Like we just tapped into something that had been obviously existing by intelligent design, by source. So I always find that a little fascinating when I think about that because I'm like, yeah, we did just tap into it. Like our intelligence as a whole reached a point where we rediscovered it or tapped into it, but it was existing before. So just like anything else, right? Like the universe or the deep ocean, like we can figure out technology and we can figure out like a way to learn about it more, but ultimately we're just discovering it. We didn't create anything. We're just finding out like how it was created or oh, it exists in this way because we're trying to like peel back the layers and learn. But
Mm.
it exists, like the galaxy exists. We're just like here and everything else is already in play. Um, so yeah.
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 Yeah. It's
Yeah.
true.
And who knows, like in past civilizations, like, it's highly debated, like how we built the pyramids and, so many ancient uh, communities,
Yeah.
temples, and everything that were just so intelligently designed and arguably can't be replicated with like
Yeah.
modern technology. So who's to say there was that we're the most intelligent ones? It might be that sure we're walking around with wireless phones and cars and everything, but maybe they've had it on a whole different level. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I always find things of matter very interesting in our world, even when we look around, like, how did all these things happen? You know, like
yeah,
even a light, a towel, a box, anything, a vase. You just like all these are created, and it's just amazing to me over time what is the ability in our world can create. Like just it's just wild to me. Like
yeah. We have like just infinite potential, and
yeah, big time.
yeah, Yeah, it's definitely important to appreciate that
Yeah.
and yeah, be present, stop and slow down, look around
Hmm.
us, and yeah, see the wonder in
Liver
the
says,
ordinary.
yeah.
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 Right.
So number four, do we think animals and plants have a soul?
Yes.
I think so too. Yes.
Yeah, so another verse in the Gita, it explains that anywhere that there are um, these few changes, there is a soul present there. So those changes are birth, uh, kind of growth, producing byproducts or offspring, and then dwindling after some time, and then eventually dying or passing. So, anywhere that those transformations take place, there is a soul within that vessel that is animating it and allowing those things to happen. So, obviously, we can see it in humans, but um, and even animals. I think a lot of maybe Western people may accept or agree with the idea that, their dog or their cat has a soul and, they want to, they'll see them in heaven or things like that.
Only
But can we,
those animals. All the other animals do
I
not,
know.
apparently.
Yeah. So then can we extend it to a
Right.
cow or, you know,
Yeah,
a chicken or a pig or
absolutely.
a house and, oh, not a house, a
Definitely.
horse. Um,
Definitely. Animals definitely have a soul.
yeah. And, they're capable of thinking and feeling emotions, pleasure and pain, forming connections and bonds with uh, not just their own species, but humans as well. They become very attached and uh, protective, even. So, and then even further than that, we can extend it to the trees and the birds and flowers and leaves and the grass. So, yeah, it all. And I think having that awareness can really develop a lot of appreciation for just creation in general. We look
Mhm.
out if we're on a walk in nature or something, everywhere we look, there's life, and it can be really inspiring, I think.
Yeah, for example, for me, like just about 2 months ago, there's a tree outside of my bedroom window that I've been looking at for the past 4 years. I look at it every single day. And it was about a 200-foot maple tree. And it was the biggest tree in our entire neighborhood. And it's like directly up my bedroom window. And I've watched all kinds of birds on it. I watch it bloom every spring. I watch the
Mm,
transitions every day, all the time. It's like it's one of my meditations. It's part of a big part of my life. And so I woke up. It's been probably about a month and a half now, maybe a month, almost a month. Yeah, about a month and a half. And I woke up and I heard chainsaws, right? And I mean, this tree is huge. It's not just like a tree. Not that it matters, like, but it's a very large tree. It's the largest one in the entire valley distance that I can see, and it's like right in my neighbor's yard. And so I wake up and I hear like a lot of chainsaws, and I'm like, I look outside and I see like a lot of workers and people, and so I get dressed and I go outside and I'm like, what do you guys? You guys are just trimming the tree, right? I mean, it's just like,
Right.
oh
and
Hopefully.
my
so
gosh.
the guy who's running the whole thing, he's not very nice man, and he's like, there's the permit. And I was like, and then there's another worker man who you can feel he has a native spirit. Maybe, I don't know what region he's exactly from, but you can feel his spirit deeply. I would say probably South or Central America. So, and he looks at me and I just start like, it just like affects me so deeply. Like I went into
Wow.
complete hysterics and I was just like tears are just like flying out of my eyes. And he looks at me, he's just like, I'm so sorry. Like, cause he knew The other guy doesn't take any acknowledgement, but this guy knew what was going on. And he could feel it, even though he's part of the working team. There was something about
Mm.
him that he knew. So I go and I knock on my neighbor's door and I'm like, is there a reason why you guys are taking this tree? I mean, this is the biggest, I mean, it's a huge tree. It took them 5 days to cut this tree down. It wasn't like,
Wow.
and so he explains to me there's one branch that leans over the neighbor's house, blah, blah, blah. The arborist, they had to have a permit. Anyways, I looked it all up. I couldn't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do. It's not my property. They've already gone through all the permitting. I mean, it is what it is. And I have to accept this, but this is like, it affected me that week. I was trembling, like internally. It made me just so unwell. I was trembling all week. I couldn't sleep all week. I woke up every morning at 7 a.m. knowing that I better be out of there into the coffee shop to do my work because I can't be there at 9 when the chainsaws go because it makes me have PTSD and make me feel so bad
Mm.
inside. And that whole week, I wrote my neighbors a letter, like a 2.5 page intricate letter about how this affected me so deeply, and also to give them awareness of what is taking place. Like, I, and that week was so heavy. Even, you have some people who I think can acknowledge it, and then there's others who, people who like dudes who walk, and they're like, "Yeah, man, nice job with the tree," and you're just like, you know. But
Yep.
the soul of that tree was so intense to me. Like it was like something that was so felt deeply. And I
Yeah.
definitely think that trees, there's especially all plants, of course, but trees in particularly, I feel like they're the stillness of souls upon our earth. And they
Mm.
just, they are the warriors that watch over the land. And they are the energy that gives so much love to, they withstand so much. They go through storms, they go through changes, they go through years of just embracing the elements. And I find it so interesting. But I definitely think there's a living thing in everything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. What you said about the tree, I mean, there is a kind of an aphorism or analogy in Bhakti given by one of our teachers named Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this kind of verse that he gives, it says that one should be humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. A blade of grass, it gets stepped on, trotted over, and it kind of just accepts. A tree, it spends its whole life giving, it converts carbon dioxide into oxygen. It gives fruit and flowers, fragrance, shade, and shelter, and it doesn't protest if it's being cut down or carved some couple's initials into it or anything like that. um, yeah, so humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, um, giving all respect to others without expecting any for yourself. And in that state of mind, one can, uh, in Bhakti, we say, chant the names of Krishna endlessly, or glorify higher power, the divine, endlessly. So, yeah, the tree is very, very important, and so many lessons that we can take from it.
yeah,
Yeah, and definitely we should respect Mother Nature, respect everything that is being provided to us in
you
that
both
way.
have trees in your pictures.
Yeah.
I love trees too. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay,
They
so
all
we'll
also the root systems of trees all communicate with
Yeah.
all the trees under the whole
right.
ecosystem
Yeah.
are all in communication underground. Like it's like a web network.
Yeah, and
Fascinating.
imagine how deep the root system of that tree went.
Oh, that big
I
old
mean,
tree. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Believe me, I think I'm a super but I feel like all the trees are like I mean, I literally wrote my letter. It wasn't a mean letter. It was just an explanation. But like, you took you took the entire grandpa out of the whole neighborhood. You took the eldest, the most eldest. Like,
Hmm.
I
Very
had
out of the neighborhood. Yeah.
like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
they were
Like,
here before these houses, before
Mhm.
anything.
I even said, I was like, that tree has been probably was even a big tree when your parents were kids. Like, I mean, like, I was like, people like they don't. It just doesn't. They just took. I was watching also after that. I resonated. There was in British Columbia, they had all the old growth forests that all the people are protesting too because they're cutting down over 1,000-year-old trees and they're
Mm.
just yeah, it's like you sit on it and the tree's like that big and you're just like this little and just not crazy.
I
Yeah.
love that we're called the Evergreen State, but I hate whenever I see new construction anymore. I'm just like, stop. Like, if we want to stay green,
Thank you.
we want to stay green. Like, hello.
100%.
Yeah, we
With
have
you.
enough.
I'm with you.
We have enough houses here.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely need more renewable resources in building and if we are going to build. So,
I
yeah.
think it's just they should stop.
Yeah. That's a thought too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, number 5, are we giving importance to satisfy our real self, the soul, apart from taking care of the body? And if not, how can we take care of our soul in our daily life?
It's to satisfy.
Question.
It's $1 million question.
I think
So,
create.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
please.
please.
No, please.
No, you sure.
I think creating intentional space for self care or just like routines that actually serve you, right? It's like, yes, we can know it in theory, but it's actually about applying. Um, so, yeah, sometimes in the busyness of life, like you're barely taking off what you need to sometimes just like function or do the next thing, right? Which is obviously worldly. You're like in the hustle and bustle. But yeah, taking a step back and just to create space and intentional time to refill your soul and do
Mm.
things that actually matter and make a difference to your overall health. And yeah.
Yeah, and there's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and uh, certainly we do need to take care of the body, the physical body, and if we're worrying about just the basic necessities of survival, it can be very difficult to then focus on taking care of the soul. So definitely, eating well, taking sufficient rest, um, and yeah, self-care, like you mentioned, those are all very important. But then once those things are satisfied, how do we go deeper? Um, we are associating with like-minded spiritual people like we are tonight, um, engaging in some sort of meditation, whether that's kind of peaceful, like we were talking about earlier, kind of alone in the quiet, or together in like a mantra meditation like we do every Saturday. Um, yeah, all of those are ways to nourish the soul and yeah, help recharge it. So yeah, in addition to doing the kirtan together, I also have these are called japa beads. So um, if you are familiar with like Catholics, they will chant like prayers on rosary beads. So what I do on the japa beads is I chant the Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra, 108 times, and that's called one round. And then I do that 16 times. And so that is my kind of daily prescription um, of meditation. It takes me about hour and a half or so. And that's kind of a non-negotiable for me every morning. I make sure to do that. If I have to wake up early, if I'm doing something or whatever, that's just kind of like going to the gym. That's just something I have to do for like my own mental sanity and a way to deal with the crazy things that life throws at you. So yeah, just finding that thing, that practice for you, to help you go deeper and achieve, clarity and peace of mind. It's all very crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. I've been doing a lot of different meditations these days. I've been on quite a journey of just exploration and different meditations, and it's been really beneficial, and a lot of reading and a lot of time inwardly soul searching and
Mm,
just you know doing um, I've been exploring different types of meditation, and it's been really beneficial. And I really enjoy mantra meditations and singing meditations. I find it amazing and really enjoyable. And also, it just kind of is almost an out of body experience as you engage with a community and you get to use your voice. And I think, a lot of times when you're using your voice, you're not focused on the mind, you're just focused on the moment. And I find that really amazing. I also find I'm doing a Kundalini meditation right now. It's a
mm,
21-day focus. It's real interesting too, just learning. Um, and I do some other ones as well that I'm just part of. And I do a Kirtan Kriya every Saturday mornings with a group that's like about 30 people that we do a vocal meditation. That's also I find it really amazing just to find that place inside because in our world, like you said, is just it can take you so many. I'm a super sensitive person and I need that quiet time to get myself recharged. And if I don't have that, I don't feel well. Like it just
yeah.
doesn't make me good inside. And then of course, good food and being mindful eating and being conscious of your intake is always great too. So
Hmm.
and stretching.
I know.
I got a new app called Bend. It's a
I have that.
yeah, it's great. Just it keeps you on track too, like 15 minutes a day, even just make sure you're doing it or whatever. It's helpful for me.
Yeah. I mean, they say use it or lose it. So if we're not
I,
using our muscles, engaging our body, it'll just wear down even faster. And years down the line, we'll look back and be like, I can't even bend down to put my shoes on. So,
I will say, in contradiction to that, there was a Buddhist monk who lived with us for like 6 months, long time ago when I was younger, and he did not work out, but he chant. He ate one meal a day, like brown rice, raw vegetables, and kimchi.
mm,
He slept on the floor in the living room with a very thin wool blanket, no matter if it was winter or summer. Like I remember it being really cold, and I was thinking like, I'm a blanket person, like that, like, and he would get up every morning at 4 in the morning and chant and do his chants. And he was ripped, like his body was ripped. So he would work on my mom's stomach and he would use a pendulum and different, like he was really big in energy, but
mm.
he was ripped through his meditation and his chanting and his breath work. So I do feel that, I mean, I haven't been going to the gym for a long time right now. And I do believe that through breath work, we're really capable to work on ourselves internally without, say, running I mean, walking is always,
I
of
agree.
course,
Breathwork can be exhausting,
yeah.
honestly. Like when
And
you
it
break
could
it down, yeah.
and getting a lot of oxygen through your body. I don't know. I've done some shamanic breathwork classes and stuff, and I will tell you, it could get you completely like out of body experience almost. And
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I have a lot of if you have a lot of pain in your body, it can literally take you right out of that place.
Mhm.
So I find it. I don't know. There's so
Breath
many elements to
is,
like
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but we got to use something.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta use something.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
found that really interesting. I mean, now that I'm kind of not living in a temple anymore, I've definitely accepted like some more creature comforts, so to speak. But I
Sure.
remember I would sleep in a sleeping bag on a yoga mat for like almost 2 years. That was my
Wow.
whole life. And we would wake up at 3:30, 4 in the morning, chant basically in the dark in the temple room for like 2 hours. And
Wow.
yeah, just all day. And yeah, our workout was, dancing in kirtan or things like that. And we never like went to the gym or anything, but I was like a little toothpick. But
So
yeah,
interesting.
so yeah, I know.
Honestly,
Yeah.
so interesting. Like all the different realms that are, you know, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
What an experience. I'm sure that was quite an experience.
Yeah, it was just such a special time in my life and came just at the perfect time. So yeah, it's definitely an experience that I'll always treasure and remember fondly. And it was just such a great spiritual foundation for the rest of my life. And I still practice, nearly everything that I learned there. So I think anybody
Oh,
could
you said
benefit.
you were there for 2 years?
Yeah, so I lived in a temple in LA of all places for a year and a half, and then I met my guru or my teacher, and I lived with him at his ashram or his home for another year and a half, basically all through COVID. And there it was a similar situation. I'd wake up really early and um, go, and he has like an altar with deities, so I would be like waking up the deities and chanting prayers and preparing food for everybody. And yeah, it was just really an amazing time, very memorable experience. Yeah. But I think anybody
So,
could benefit from like even just a few weeks or a month, like a spiritual boot camp. Um, somebody takes like a gap year from school or something. And yeah, just to experience something like that, it could be really nice. Yeah. And
How
I
long
didn't
have
have any plan of, when I was there, I didn't think like I'm gonna be here for a year or two and then I'll go do something else. I just had no expectations, and um, it was really only when my mom reached out to me and said that she wanted help with her family business, and I moved back here to Washington and um, helped her with that. But probably if she didn't reach out, I might still be there. Who knows? So
now?
yeah, just kind of going wherever I feel that uh, I'm called to be.
mhm.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining tonight. And I hope that in the next week we can take care of our soul, give some more time, um, for those deeper things in life, and come back next week recharged, refreshed. And the fourth session next week is called The Mind, Friend or Foe. So,
Whew.
um, yeah, I'm sure we all have experience that the mind can be our best friend or our greatest enemy, depending on
So true.
how we
Mhm.
treat it or how we let it treat us. So, yeah, be kind to your mind and it'll be kind to you. And yeah, have a great rest of your week and look
Mhm.
forward to seeing you all soon.
All
That's
right,
good.
thanks,
Thank
guys.
Okay.
you.
Hari
Thank
Om
you.
Tat Sat.
Mhm.